Hey there, my name is E.W. Buckley, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make your beats sound more human pretty much instantly. It can be surprisingly tricky to do, and we're going to get into why that is in just a moment. First, I'm going to explain to you why it can be so hard for programmed beats to feel human by breaking down the anatomy of an actual drum hit. Then I'm going to walk you through 3 hacks for adding that human feel pretty much instantly. Let's jump in. The DAW is the perfect timekeeper. The grid gives us machine accuracy and ultimate precision, and this is literally the opposite of human drummers. The best drummers aren't perfect, and that's a feature and not a bug. To add a human feel to your beats, you have to introduce some specific imperfections. Now, when a drum is struck, there are a number of factors that are going to influence the resulting sound. Some of those factors, like the material of the drum and the object striking it, we're going to skip over for this video. To replicate that in the DAW, we really would just be talking about drum synthesis, which that is not what this video is about. Instead, we want to focus on the when, where, and how a person hits a drum. Even at a consistent dynamic, a drummer will vary the force that they hit a drum with, which results in variable fluctuations in volume. A drummer will also hit a drum in a different spot every single time, even if they're focusing on a particular area of the drum. This creates subtle changes in perceived tone and pitch. Finally, a drummer isn't a perfect timekeeper. Each hit is going to either be subtly ahead or behind the beat. The part that makes replicating these imperfections particularly difficult is that they're all really subtle, and subtleties can be difficult to quantify, but quantifying those subtleties is exactly what I'm going to show you now. Today I'm going to be working with this short, jazzy beat. So when I hear the word random or imperfection in music production, my brain instantly screams LFO. And that's exactly the first hack that I want to talk to you about. So let's focus on the pedal hi-hat here. And I'm going to turn on the LFO, and I'm going to set the output to the random wave shape. And I'm going to dial up the volume and the pitch to 100% so we can fully hear what the LFO is doing to this closed hi-hat. So that's pretty extreme. We don't want that. We want subtlety. So we need to dial it back. And I'm going to start to first dial back the volume, and then I'm going to do the same for pitch. And we're going to talk about where we end up. Now it might feel like I just pulled back everything, but if I A/B the LFO on and off, we're going to hear a subtle but noticeable difference. And with the rest of the groove. It was crazy to me when I just toggled that LFO off, how mechanical that pedal hi-hat became. So now our drum pattern is a little bit more filled out. Let's give that a listen. The LFO trick is great when you want to add extra detail to a single drum, but it would be tedious to do for a whole kit. This is where MIDI effects come into play. There are a lot of MIDI effects that can achieve the humanness that we're looking for, and I'm going to discuss two with you now. So the first one I want to chat about is velocity, and it allows you to take the incoming velocity from a MIDI clip and allows you to introduce randomized modulation to the incoming MIDI signal. So I'm going to play our drums, and I'm going to crank up the randomization, and we're going to hear that. If we want to fine tune that, we can use the output high and low to narrow the band that the random works within. So let's target something a little bit more mid-range, and we'll bring the randomization down a bit here. Now, another one is expression control. And expression control has pretty much just 5 areas in which you can assign a macro to be controlled by any number of parameters. You will choose the source from this drop down here. We're going to go to the one that by default is set to random. Let's engage expression control. I want to focus on our jazz ride cup, and I'm going to map it to the sustain, and it's going to feel almost like a choking of the ride cup is happening. And it's going to feel pretty extreme at first, but we can dial it in. It feels now like there's accents happening, which is really interesting and really compelling. To make drum humanization a lot easier and more efficient, I have created a rack that takes the qualities we were talking about, the timing of a human hitting a drum, where they hit the drum to generate differences in perceived pitch, and how hard they hit the drum, and I have turned it into a rack that just lets me dial in the percentage that I want to add to that. So I'll bring some of these in and I will play with them, and you can hear how quickly this takes the drum kit from feeling very static to feeling very lively and dynamic. So it can go all the way from subtle to really kind of loose playing. And if you're interested in this rack and want to support the work that I'm doing on this channel, you can pick it up on my website, and it's also included in my Total Bundle. So if you already own the Total Bundle, you can just go download this right now, and thank you for already supporting the channel. So for our first 2 hacks, we focused mostly on devices, both within the drum rack and additional devices added to the device chain. However, for our third hack, we're going to actually venture into the MIDI clip itself. So by default, when you program a MIDI note, it will always play and at the exact velocity that you program it every single time. And that reliability is a feature. But let's say that you want to introduce some probability. Live has 2 features now called chance and deviation that actually allow you to do that. So I've added a few more details here now to our drum pattern. We can think about this as the beat kind of fully present. Let's listen. So it's a great groove, but it's still pretty static. So let's focus on the ride first. I'm going to click on this downward facing triangle, and I'm going to select chance. Now chance is added in as well, and we can see everything is set to 100%. So I'm going to highlight our ride cup, and I'm going to set the chance for every single one of them to about 50%. Then I'm going to select all of the tips, and I am going to go down to deviation, and I'm going to type in 32. And now we see this highlighted area above where the velocity is set for each of these hits. So now that means it has a chance to deviate from its programmed velocity by 32. Let's extend this to a few other elements as well. So I'm going to take these offbeat hi-hats, And I'm going to drop their probability or their chance to 50% as well. I'm going to take all of these snare sweeps up here and I'm going to drop them down to 30. And these cymbals I'm going to drop to 10. I don't want a cymbal literally every measure. And I'm going to add a deviation to our snare on beat 4 here so that it doesn't always have to hit so hard. And instead of typing it in down here, I'm going to highlight the velocity for this note, hold down Command, and just drag down a bit. And let's add back in the rest of the band to feel how this beat sounds in context. Now pause and rewind the video to when I first played this pattern. The difference is night and day in how much more breathability and subtle imperfection this has. It's really musically compelling to me, and instead of trying to go through and manually nudge and adjust 10 million MIDI notes, we're working in a much more smarter way by embracing the affordances of the tools available to us to create this really rich and interesting and human sounding beat. Thank you all so much for watching and continuing to tune in week after week as I work hard to try to grow this channel to 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. If you're newer to this channel, or maybe this was your first video with me, hello. Please consider subscribing, liking this video, and leaving a comment to let me know what you would like to see next. It's always helpful to take the temperature of the room for me. And for all of you, please make sure to have the little bell checked next to the subscribe button because I have some big things planned for the coming months and I don't want you to miss out on it. Again, thank you so much for watching. Till next time.